Let's dive into some of the absolute strangest mysteries in all of human history. These aren't just weird little stories. They are real moments when the human mind itself seemed to become, well, contagious. And the results were bizarre, and sometimes even deadly.
So picture this. It's the summer of 1518 in Strasbourg. A woman, Frau Trophea, walks out into the middle of the street and just starts dancing. But there's no music, no festival, no party. It's just her dancing with this weird, intense energy all by herself.
But here's where it gets really strange. She wasn't alone for long. Within a week, a few dozen other people had joined in. And by the end of the month, that number had exploded to 400 people, all dancing in the streets day and night, seemingly unable to stop.
Now, make no mistake, this was not some joyful party. It was terrifying. People were literally dancing themselves to death. They were collapsing from total exhaustion, from strokes, from heart attacks. The local authorities had absolutely no idea what to do.
So you have to ask yourself, what on earth was going on? Was it a curse? Some strange unknown disease? This question has stumped historians for centuries.
And here's the most fascinating part. The dancing plague of 1518, it wasn't a one-off. It's actually part of a much bigger, much stranger pattern of behavior that's popped up all throughout history.
I mean, this pattern spans hundreds of years. You see it with nuns in medieval France who started meowing like cats, a phantom gas attacker in America during World War II, and even an epidemic of laughter in 1960s Africa. The symptoms are all over the place, but the core idea, this contagious behavior, it's the same.
Yeah, you heard that right. The meowing nuns. Just imagine, you've got this super strict convent, right? High discipline, intense religious devotion. And one day, a nun just starts meowing. And pretty soon, the entire convent joins her, meowing together for hours every single day. It sounds like a joke, but it absolutely happened.
And this stuff isn't just ancient history. Fast forward to 1944. An entire town in Illinois was gripped with fear over a mad gasser. Dozens of people reported being attacked and getting sick, but the police, they never found a single shred of evidence. Nothing. Then, almost 20 years later, a simple laughing fit between 3 schoolgirls somehow snowballs into a full-blown epidemic.
And that one little laughing fit, it ended up affecting over 1,000 people. It spread from village to village, forced 14 schools to shut down, and it went on for months. People were in pain, they were fainting, having trouble breathing, all because they couldn't stop laughing.
Okay, so dancing plagues, meowing nuns, unstoppable laughter. How do we possibly make sense of any of this? Well, it turns out there is a scientific key that unlocks all these historical puzzles, and it's not found in some poison or curse, it's found inside our own minds.
The official term for it is mass psychogenic illness, or MPI. And what it means is basically a situation where real physical symptoms of an illness spread like wildfire through a group of people, but there's no actual physical cause. It's not a bacteria, it's not a virus. You could call it a psychological contagion.
So let's put on our mass psychogenic illness glasses for a second and look back at these bizarre events. Suddenly, what seemed like supernatural madness starts to look a lot more like a very, very human reaction to incredible stress.
Just look at the common thread here. The people in 1518, they were dealing with famine, poverty, and disease, unbelievable stress. The nuns, they lived under this incredibly rigid, stressful discipline. The town of Mattoon, full of anxiety from World War II. In every single case, you have a high-stress environment that acts like dry kindling, just waiting for a spark.
So here's kind of the playbook for how it spreads. First, you get a group that's already under a lot of shared pressure. Then, one person, your Frau Trophea, your first meowing nun, starts to show that stress in a physical way. Others see it, and their own anxious brains basically go, hey, me too. And once the belief in some outside threat starts to spread, whether it's a curse or a phantom gasser, it just validates and amplifies the whole thing.
Now, all of this might seem like a weird footnote from the history books, but it brings up a really important question for us today. Have we actually outgrown this? Are our minds really any less contagious than they were 500 years ago?
Here's the big takeaway from all these bizarre cases. They show us a fundamental truth about being human. Under the right conditions, feelings like anxiety, stress, and even belief can be literally contagious. They can spread through a population just like a biological virus. Our minds are not islands. We are all deeply connected.
And that leaves us with a pretty powerful final thought. In our world of social media, of a 24-hour news cycle, the pathways for this kind of psychological contagion are wider and faster than ever before in human history. So it forces us to ask, what modern hysterias are spreading right now that we're simply too close to see?